And we're thanks again for appreciate you kind of taking some time out of your day. I know it's a quick 30 minutes, but we just wanted to go over some great topics together. Again, really interactive conversation as we're kind of facing some, different challenging times, as well as just opportunities to really make adjustments in some of the processes that we're going forward. So a few housekeeping notes. We do have all of our microphones and cameras on, so please just mute yourself when you're not talking. Nick will kick off today's call, and then we will go into the live Q&A session. We do have all of these recorded, and there is a link available on Managecore's website, so please refer back to that and or refer colleagues or anyone else who missed today's session to see Nick's presentation. So now I'd like to introduce Nick Militich. He is Senior VP of Solution Engineer here at Managecore, and he will be leading today's session.
Thanks, Kristen. So as Kristen mentioned, this is meant to be an informal meeting to kind of discuss talking points around each topic. And today's topic, we're going to start talking about what you need from your managed service provider. So we're going to have an interactive discussion regarding what SAP customers should be getting from their managed service provider. A little bit of background on Managecore. We are an SAP certified partner, and at the core, we provide industry-leading SAP managed services. So there's a few key factors you want to take into consideration when looking at an SAP managed service provider. And first and foremost, Managecore believes that transparency is really key to a managed service provider. You really want to have that direct access and visibility in your systems. I mean, after all, it is your environment, it is your SAP landscape, and you should know what's going on with it at all times. So having a managed service provider that kind of gives you that insight into it, maybe access to the tool set that they use to monitor, so you can see in real time the alerts that come out for your systems or just the overall health at any given time. You also want some proactive and regular reporting. And I think regular is key. There's a lot of service providers that offer the ability to do reporting. However, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You want to make sure that you're getting that regular cadence of a report. And that report should include things like performance, capacity management. You want to know if your environment from an infrastructure standpoint is reaching critical mass, and your database or your application itself as well. So you want to know how your database is trending. Is it growing at a rate where you have to increase the size of that database, and you may have enough space on your OS, for example, or is SAP performance suffering and maybe you have to adjust SAP parameters or tweak database parameters. And that should all be in the reporting. You want to see that trending. And a lot of people take that for granted. As people tend to get into the day-to-day tasks that have to occur in an SAP environment, a lot of people forget to take a step back and look at what happened over the last month, what has happened over the last 3 months. And you'd be surprised at what you actually see. A lot of times people react to the alerting, and it could be a memory issue, or it could be a short dump within SAP, and they fix the issue and you move along your day. But at the end of the day, if you were to actually take a step back and analyze that data, you'd see that, well, it was trending toward that issue, and that issue could probably have been prevented. And that really leads me into my next piece of that transparency part, and that's proactive support. Again, you don't want to just have a firm that troubleshoots when issues arise or when you get an alert. You want to make sure that alert, if you get one, is remediated, but also analyzed to make sure and catch issues that may have cropped up due to changes in the environment or changes in how you're using SAP. An SAP environment isn't static, and your managed service provider shouldn't be either. And with that proactive support, you want to make sure that they have the capability to do trending analysis as well. And again, going back to my original topic of transparency, you want to understand what your environment's doing and where it's going, not only where it's been. And I think that's key. You want to make sure that whoever is managing your environment understands that from a monitoring perspective, where are you at? Where is your SAP application headed in what direction? And that includes not only the monitoring piece of it, but the analysis of support pack levels, the analysis of kernels, the analysis of database levels. More often than not, I've seen environments where we'll take over from other MSP providers, and those environments will be out of date, and we're focusing on patching it, because at the end of the day, if you're not patching, you're not getting the latest security enhancements, you're not getting the latest application level fixes in your environment, and it could lead to potential problems. But also, you're not getting the benefit of why you bought that software. A lot of companies, they kind of set it and forget it at times, and then they, you go to trade shows, or you go to other webinars or anything where they're talking about the new and latest and greatest feature functions, and someone wants to use it, and you end up being out of date and having to go through a significant kind of rollout and project to get your systems up to date, and that could take some time and some remediation. So that upkeep is critical to the MSP. You want to make sure that they're continually doing it and having a plan for that, and not just when requested by the client. Another key area or topic when it comes to picking an MSP is the resources. At the end of the day, you're going to be interacting about 90% of the time with the resources that are helping support your environment. And they have to be skilled and have to understand how to run an SAP environment. So you want to make sure that you have the senior resources available that have supported clients, that have been there and done that with a landscape similar to yours. Now, not every landscape is the same, so you may be running certain function modules or certain add-ons that are unique, and that's okay. But you want to have consultants that have, again, been there, done that, and understand how to support your environment. Now, whether that's a consultant that understands HANA, or maybe you're on SQL Server or Oracle or SUSE or any of those platforms, you want to make sure that you have the ability to call upon consultants that have experience in that platform. Unique to Managecore is we actually have consultants that are both basis and cloud certified. Now, the reason that's critical is as every client gets into the cloud space, we see more and more clients moving SAP workloads into public clouds. When they get moved into these public clouds, you want to make sure that someone knows how to support them in that environment. So the real, I guess, caveat to that is that if you have consultants or a MSP that you're providing basis support, you want to ask them, what is their experience in the cloud? Because at the end of the day, the cloud certification or the cross training that Managecore provides actually leads to a much better mean time to resolution, and it's drastically reduced when you have consultants that can both do basis and cloud. And the reason I say that is, I don't know how many times we've seen systems where you need to add disk because of backups, or you need to add disk because of logs filling up or a database growing. Maybe the environment has not enough memory and CPU. In the traditional methods, you're asking an infrastructure team to open tickets to do that. It could take some time, and we all know SAP is becoming more and more critical. So as it becomes more and more critical, you really need to have the ability to do that quickly. And that's what clouds like GCP offer, right? They offer the ability for you to spin up a server immediately. Within 5 minutes, you have an application server running, or let's say your environment is running year end and you didn't realize it needed that much resources. In GCP, you can go in, you can actually shut the system down, resize it, turn it back on, and within 5 minutes, your system has more memory and CPU to be able to utilize, and you can turn it down again when you're done. But to do that in a infrastructure on premise, or to do it in other more traditional private clouds, you have a different team that might have to do that, and that could lead to either downtime or missed revenue opportunities, things of that nature. So knowing and understanding how to do that in the cloud is significantly more important nowadays than it has been in the past. And really, with the skilled and certified resources, you want to make sure that you can seamlessly integrate with the internal teams as well. So you want to make sure that if the firm, the MSP that you're with, if they have an integration point into maybe your ticketing system, or they can utilize their ticketing system, or maybe there's a point of interaction where you need to integrate within your environment for certain reasons, you want to make sure that the MSP is flexible enough to do that. A lot of times, MSPs won't really adhere to your practice and make you, more often than not, adhere to theirs, which could lead to issues down the road where that flexibility isn't there, and you could miss a ticket, you can miss a request. Maybe it's not as easy for your user community to now interact, and it could just leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth. So you want to make sure that your internal teams and systems can integrate with your MSP as much as you're integrating with them. But those are really the top key areas that you really want to focus on when you're looking at a managed service provider. Now, in the coming weeks, I'll talk a little bit more about SAP evolution and tool sets. Those are always critical as well within an MSP, but you want to make sure that the right tool sets are there. You want to make sure that the right people are there, and you want to make sure that the right knowledge is there, because SAP has changed significantly, and it has grown, and we've all seen the 4.6C systems. It grew into 4.7 and now ECC 6 and into S4. All that evolution, you want to make sure that your MSP has stayed up to date with it. So that's another critical point, is not only the resources, but the resources that have done that and stayed with that technology as well. That becomes very critical. So I think from a managed service provider, again, going back to skilled resources and transparency and the right tool sets, you definitely want to make sure that your support team has that. And those are the top key areas you want to really look into when picking a provider, because at the end of the day, as mentioned before, these are your systems. And at Managecore, we definitely take the approach of, we're here to help you and we're here to manage your systems. We are not here to make rules and regulations on how you can use your environment. And at the end of the day, it benefits everyone if we're staying up to date with your environment, with skilled resources, and understanding that you and the MSP know exactly what's happening within your environment at all times.
Awesome. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I have a few items that I know have come in as just topics and feedback as we're going through this series that we could discuss.
So
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just a quick question, Nick. As you are going through and doing your SAP upgrades and things like that and moving to S/4HANA, what percentage of your customer base, of your customers, are going to staying on premises or going to cloud? I mean, is it 50-50, 60-40, as far as, where are people moving to?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it kind of ties into the whole skill set standpoint, the cross training, because we are seeing that I'd say over 80% are moving to the public cloud. So almost everyone is going toward that direction, and for good reason, right? It's super flexible. You have the autonomy to spin up what you need and not provision what you don't. HANA is tricky. With SAP, it requires either certified hardware or someone that knows the TDI architecture, tailored data center integration, and that requires certification. So it's an expensive proposition to go on-prem these days, and we're seeing a lot of clients go the public cloud route.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Another question?
Hey, Nick, this is Carl. It's not maybe a question, but maybe we can go down the path of, operational efficiencies that our customers gain from our automation. Maybe an example of that. I know how we talk about being proactive, but some of the information gathering that we're able to do and be able to stay proactive, where usually basis support is a reactive type of thing, but that, and using our automation and what we do is something that I think our customers should look forward to.
Yeah, and I welcome everyone on here to also join the next few virtual meetups, because I will be going in depth into that and actually showing the tool set. But at a high level, the automation helps significantly. The analysis helps significantly. So our tool set allows us to gather all that information and parse it and query it and really go in depth into seeing how those systems are used. So we can take an environment and, let's say in a vacuum, a consultant gets an alert, that alert gets triggered, they look at it, they fix the issue, they go about their day. Our tool set allows us to trend that and say, you know what, this alert happened 6 times over the last 2 months at the same time. And that allows us to now go in and see what is happening at that time. Now, traditional methods say the consultant has to remember that. The consultant has to go back and look at their emails or their alerts and really make that correlation. And our tool set does that for us. So we're able to really look at that and take proactive measures instead of being reactive and just fixing the problem of the day. And that's huge for clients, because without that, you're really just a reactive organization continually just fighting alerts that come out.
Yeah, that was a great question, and that was gonna kind of lead into what I was gonna ask about kind of Managecore Watchdog and our basis automation. We will be doing a full webinar on that, where Nick will be going through the tool set in depth, kind of show and highlight the real-time capabilities, the reporting, the trending of all of that. But if anyone had any other questions regarding that, but that was really where I kind of wanted to start talking a little bit more about operational efficiencies, especially with our customers. I talk with customers all the time for customer case studies and as we're publishing quotes, and just glowing reviews of they just can't believe that within a couple of days of working with Managecore, how issues have been resolved, how proactive our support is. We're an extension of their team. It's been really phenomenal feedback. So yeah, that was all that I had, unless anyone has any other questions. Or Nick, anything else?
Oh, I think that's it from my end, and I look forward to the next few meetups to go over that tool set.
Sounds great. So the next one is this Thursday, April 2nd. It'll be led by Frank Powell. He is going to be talking a little bit more in depth about the Google Cloud pricing model, in particular, as we're kind of looking to make adjustments on the fly here over the last month and the coming weeks. Really just talking about controlling your price point in the cloud and how Google does a really great job at doing that for SAP customers in particular. They also are running some really great programs with migration incentives. So Frank will be going in more depth about that. But if you have any questions before then, please feel free to reach out to myself or Michael Hazy. We're happy to help. We're happy to answer any questions you have. And we will see everyone next week, or I'm sorry, next Thursday. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you all. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.